Welcome to European Railway issue number 72, the DVD magazine for the continental enthusiast. In this programme, we travel to Austria to sample traffic to the southeast of Vienna. A trip to southern France for a brief visit to the border area with Italy around Ventimiglia. We look at the main line in southern Slovenia, now fully recovered from the ice storm that struck back in 2014. A busy junction in northwest Poland is our next port of call. And finally, the first part of our German hotspot feature as we study traffic on the freight line to the south of Duisburg. We begin the programme in eastern Austria, on the main freight route linking the capital Vienna with Graz and onto Villach. Our chosen location is at the small junction station at Wampersdorf, not far from Ebenfurt. The junction is the point where two single lines join together to make a double track section through to Wiener-Neustadt. We begin on the evening of the 13th of June 2016 at a point just south of the station, as we see 1116101 heading towards the camera with a southbound tank train. The working will have come off the single track line down from Neusiedl. Most passenger services on the line travel to either Wiener-Neustadt or Deutschkreuz on the Joprun line out towards Hungary. This is the 1919 service from Vienna, formed by Class 4124 units, numbers 036 and 027. Heading north is one of the S60 S-Bahn services to Bruck-Leiter. Unit number 4124016 is working the 1935 from Wiener-Neustadt. Looking to the north, you can see a steady stream of aircraft on their final approach to Vienna's main international airport. The 1142595 is one of 78 members of the class still in traffic, with another 12 currently in store. Here it heads south with this freight from Vienna's Klettering Yard to Graz at just before 8 p.m. Now you see me, now you don't. Another pair of Class 4124, there's a lot of them on this line, this time numbers 029 and 012, form the 1828 from Bruck-Leiter to Wiener-Neustadt. This is an interesting race two trains heading south on their respective single track lines have come together on the two-track section just north of the station. Leading the race are a pair of Class 4124s on a service for Deutschkreuz, whilst failing to keep up are 1144052 and 1116260. Hungarian private operator Gisev celebrated Wagner's 200th birthday on the 17th of July 2013, when 470-503 was revealed in this new commemorative livery. It was difficult not to admire the lovely sunset in between the trains. We saw around 5 freight trains plus 4 passenger trains during our evening visit. Heading south is 1144217 at just before 9 p.m. Very early the next morning, from a nearby road overbridge, we see unit number 412418 heading the 0435 from Deutschkreuz to Vienna. This is the third northbound service for Vienna at the beginning of the morning rush hour. Here we see 1116087 heading south with empty stock bound for Wiener-Neustadt. Again, there was no shortage of freight traffic. Heading north for Vienna is 1144126, seen passing the camera at 0559. As 4124, 026 and 011 head south, you can just see in the far distance a freight coming off the Gramat-Neusiedl single track line, which I should say is freight only. Being slowed by all of the passenger and freight action is the 0553 from Deutschkreuz to Bratislava. Providing the power at the rear is 1116153. Now with clear tracks ahead, number 1144106 eases out of the recess loops with this southbound freight. (111644) is heading south with a train for Wiener-Neustadt. The last 3 coaches of the train have sustained a recent graffiti attack. (1142-615) is returning to Vienna's main yard after working an earlier freight down to Wiener-Neustadt. finally we see G-Sev's 470-503 tucked inside 1116175 as they depart with this mixed freight bound for Sopron. The time is 10 to 7 in the morning of the 14th of June 2016. We now move to southern France and the border with Italy, focusing on the station at Ventimiglia. We chose two main locations, the first just inside the Italian border and the second to the west of Cannes, at the small station at Théoul-sur-Mer. The coast here is dominated by the foothills of the Southern Alps, which reach right down to sea level, meaning that most of the main transport links have to hug the coastline in order to find a level route, as well as serving the towns that have grown up as a result of the tourist industry along the Côte d'Azur. We begin the programme just to the west of the Italian station here at Ventimiglia. French and Italian rolling stock is commonplace here, such as in this example of a pair of French Z23-500 units, numbers 550 and 545, both based at Marseille. Adjacent to the station is the old roundhouse, not likely to see much in the way of future rail action. French Electric number 22325 rounds the curve with an overnight service from Lourdes to Roma. This train is carrying returning pilgrims and tourists that flock to the French town of Lourdes in their millions. This all came about when in 1858 the Marianne apparitions were seen by the peasant girl Bernadette Soubirous. Shortly thereafter, the city, with the sanctuary of the Lady of Lourdes, became one of the world's most important sites of pilgrimage and religious tourism. The next train to depart is the 0832 service for Paris, formed by TGV duplex set number 260, a set that entered service on the 4th of February 2004. Meanwhile, number 22325 has come off its train and is about to access the Loco storage sidings to await its next turn of duty. Three Z23500 units, numbers 537, 547 and 549, arrive forming the 0637 terminating service from Can-La-Buca. Manufactured by Alstom in 2005, a pair of three-car Class ALN 501 Minuetto diesel railcars arrive, with the 0643 service from Cuneo. There are 6 Z26500 double-deck units owned by Monaco for services between Grasse, Cannes, Nice, Monaco and Ventimiglia. The trains are finished in this special livery. This is set number 439. 'We head for Théoule-sur-Mer now, and this delightful scene overlooking the Viaduct de la Rague, which is 228 metres long. Seen heading west is an unidentified BB 25500 electric, forming the 10 o'clock service from Nice to Les Arcs. "20 minutes later, and this class BB 22200 crosses the bridge with the 1027 from Nice to Bordeaux. This is the station at Théoule-sur-Mer. The lights begin to flash as 22308 powers at the rear of the 1257 Nice to Bordeaux. Sister locomotive number 22256 arrives with the 1227 from Les Arcs to Nice. This is the 0849 TGV service from Paris to Nice. Our final view from the station sees the 1338 from Graz to Ventimiglia. Our last shot comes from the viaduct once more, with the wooded island of Sainte Marguerite in the right distance. A Nice-bound TGV heads across the structure. It is a few years now since the main line to the southwest of Ljubljana was devastated by an ice storm which struck on the night of the 7th of February 2014. Overhead catenary and wires were ripped down with the weight of the ice and put this busy line out of action for many days. Diesel locomotives were drafted in and were used over a period of 18 months to haul mostly freight services over this very busy route. We covered these services back in European Railway issue number 60. Since then, electric services have resumed, and so we thought it was time to go back and see what normal day-to-day operations are like. We begin with Slovenian Railway's Taurus Electric number 541007, departing the station on the afternoon of the 10th of May 2015, with loaded hoppers from Germany. Single track operation was in place on this day just east of the station due to engineering works in connection with the replacement of the overhead wires. 363025 was next to leave. You can expect around 2 to 3 freights each way per hour on this line, as well as local passenger workings, so there's nearly always something going on. The quietest day for freight is a Monday, but it picks up in the evening. Sundays are surprisingly active, with a good amount of freight services to be seen. Next to turn up was 1216141, with 2016061 dead in tow. In no time at all, 2 more westbound freights had arrived behind 363020 and 363027 respectively. It was the latter that obtained the road first, but there was a little surprise to be had on the rear of the train. We now fast forward to the 10th of June 2016, and unit number 312111 is seen arriving with the 1545 semi-fast service from Ljubljana to Koper. There are around 16 passenger services each way on this stretch of line, mainly worked by these units. Heading north at just after 4:30 is Slovenian Railways Class 541 Electric number 012 with a freight from Italy. "20 minutes later, and it is the turn of sister locomotive number 011. The station building has no staff, with tickets being issued by a machine. Most of the upper floors of the building are now private residences. This is a very good line to see the Class 363s. This one, number 019, heads empty wagons bound for the port of Koper. The 1610 from Ljubljana to Szczecin is formed with a locomotive and coaches. The train returns back to the capital later on in the evening. Power for this day's train is 541008. With 6.6 megawatts of traction on tap, it is a little overkill for just 3 coaches. Still, I bet the G-forces on offer during acceleration are well worth it. All was quiet for a few minutes until 541-101 rounded the curve on this trainload of iron ore from the port of Koper to Linz steelworks in Austria. At 6:15, the daily pickup freight arrived behind 664119. The shunter and operations supervisor followed the train by van, it being the only time we saw ground-based railway staff during our visit. Down to the other end of the station now to witness ER20005, heading this car train from the Hungarian border station at Hódos through to the port of Koper. As mentioned before, 541008 was to return on its passenger run, this time with the 1820 from Setzana to Ljubljana. (363.012) is next to round the curve. It was then 3 trains in 15 minutes. This is a line well worth visiting, with, as you can see, a good variety of trains to be had. Our final sequence sees 363010 heading south with a trainload of cars for export via the port of Koper. We turn to Poland now, and a busy cross-country line linking the south with Poznan and up towards the port of Szczecin. The junction here at Krzyż is 80 kilometers northwest of Poznan and meets the diesel-only line from Piła Główna across to Gorzów. Our locations are either side of the town, mainly focusing on the main electrified lines. We begin in the west and on one of the first road crossings in the Gorzów direction, as diesel unit number SA135020 heads the 1613 Krzyż to Kościin. The date is the 19th of June 2016. Heading south on the electrified main line from Szczecin is STK Dragon Electric number E6ACT003. This is one of 4 machines owned by the STK company, which was recently taken over by Rakek Kolejowy in 2016. This is the view just west of the station on the actual junction. EP 08011 is in charge of the 0816 from Świnoujście to Zamyśl. The locomotive itself dates from 1975. TEM2 number 304 is operated by the Global Transport Company of Poland, which mainly deals with infrastructure work. The wagons were being propelled to a nearby siding where ballast was then loaded into them. The main flow of freight is export coal, where the majority goes north to the port of Świnoujście, with the balance being sent to the docks at Szczecin. Here PKP Cargo's ET22662 heads north at exactly 11:45. This was followed 11 minutes later by EP07312 on a service from Ljubljana. The giant chemical works at Police, to the north of Szczecin, is responsible for the other main traffic flow along the line. Here AKM's 186261 heads a southbound set of chemical tanks at just after 12:30. ET22216 quietly appears from under the road bridge with another northbound coal train. These regular movements can load to well over 40 wagons. The Loco is a refurbished example, being the original number 452 in the series, built in 1978. It was modernised in 2009. Another unit, this time SA 108 004. ET22094 is one of 21 of the first 100 of the class still in operation. Here it heads north with loaded iron ore. Note the triple axle wagons. The depot on the south side of the station is home to a collection of withdrawn diesel locomotives, including varieties of SP32 and SM42. SM42464 is still listed as in traffic, but was stored here, like many of the others, at the end of 2015. There is very little prospect of these ever turning a wheel in revenue service again, and almost certainly all are condemned to the scrap heap. This is the ex-SP32 044. This was another loco stored at the end of 2015. Although obviously out of use, most locos had their doors chained up and windows protected from attack. SU45241 leads the lineup, having been officially stored in early 2016. The locomotive has spent most of its career working in the northwest of the country, having been built in Poznan in 1976. Another lineup of stored locos can be found behind, closer to the main station platforms. On a more positive note, we head to the east and witness EP 07376, heading south on the Poznan line with the 1149 from Szczecin to Jamaica. Single line operation was in force due to engineering work, which was taking place around a kilometre to the south of here. This is unit number SA 137005. 20 Class ED 160 multiple units were built by Stadler and were delivered in 2015. They are used on long-distance intercity services, such as this example here, the 0728 from Katowice to Świnoujście on the north coast. Our final location is just east of the town, as unit number ED78001 heads past the camera with a service for Poznan. A total of 16 of these are in traffic with Polish regional railways, with 13 based at Szczecin and 3 others at Zielona Góra. A Class SA108 is seen heading towards the station on the non-electrified line from Piła. Intercity unit E160020, the last in the series, heads south forming the 1254 from Szczecin to Kraków. Having waited for the E160 unit to clear the section, number ET221063 is seen on another loaded coal train. SM42-2619 is operated by NKN out of its Szczecin base. The Loco is seen here arriving with loaded ballast hoppers, ready to proceed down the line towards the site of the engineering works. Once the tampers are out of the way, number 2619 is ready to go. As SM42439 heads away from the camera, it is now worth pointing out that all of this action was filmed on a Sunday. Not bad for what would be regarded as a quiet day. Our last scene shows EP07 1052 heading north with a service from Białystok to Szczecin. We now move to Germany, and the first of a two-part feature looking at the busy freight line that runs just east of the River Rhine, in the industrialised Ruhr region of the country. We focus on the route linking Düsseldorf in the south with Duisburg in the north, focusing in this part mainly on the town of Lindorf. We conclude with a visit to Duisburg, where we will begin part 2 of this feature in the next programme. This section aims to show the railway observer the level and types of traffic to be found in the area, as well as identifying as best we can some of the trains that we see. We hope that you find it useful. The date is Friday, the 14th of October 2016, and approaching the camera is our first taste of traffic on the line, in the form of North Rail Hire Loco number 1265499. In the opposite direction we see 185389, working this mixed freight from Köln's Gremberg yard to Oberhausen-Osterfeld. Five minutes later, an SNCF's 37028, sub-hired from Akiem, heads north with train DGS 45203 from Wapi to Dortmund. The location is not far from the busy Düsseldorf airport, with its constant takeoffs and landings. We think this is train EZ 51436 from Gremberg to Zielce Yard at Hanover. Motive power is provided by 155245. The time is just after 4 o'clock. One 275845 gets to grips with this loaded lime train, number DGS 95824, from the quarry at nearby Flandersbach to Oberhausen West. Heading loaded lime hoppers from Flandersbach is 272022, the train being the thrice weekly EK 54822 from Flandersbach to Oberhausen-Oesterfeld. In the opposite direction, Class 66 number DE669 is working train DGS 52690 from Neuss to Flandersbach, conveying empty lime hoppers. Shortly after 5 p.m, 185541 heads north on paper train DGS 48660 from Grisignano in Italy to Dortmund. You never know what might appear here. This is 221122, operated by EFW Transport Company. One 275-851 heads south with train DGS 95825 from Oberhausen West to Flandersbach Quarry. The wagons are Naco hoppers used for carrying lime, which is used in the steel making industry. 189.088 has travelled a little further afield than the previous train as it heads south with mixed freight EZ 45719 from Kaifhoek Yard in Dordrecht to Gremberg Yard in Köln. The time is exactly 6:10. (261-108) is running light engine from Düsseldorf Rath to Oberhausen West. With darkness now falling, 145034 adds to the mix of tractions seen here, working freight train number EZ 51441 from Gremberg to Zielce. One 152.041 heads EZ 51228, this time from Zielce to Gremberg. The time is 7:20 and there is only about 25 minutes worth of light left. DE669 has completed its run to Flanders-Bach lime quarry and returns with train DGS 52691 to Gustorf. This was followed at 8 minutes to 7 by 294-700, returning light engine from Ratingen to Oberhausen. We've included this shot for completeness. Class 66 number 77041 heads south in the last of the light with GM 60388 from Duisburg to Flandersbach empty lime hoppers. The following morning, Saturday the 15th of October 2016, and we are at Duisburg-Entenfang, which is at the southern end of the former Wiedau marshalling yard, the remains of which are used to store wagons or used as a driver changeover point. Heading the hourly shuttle service to and from Duisburg HBF is diesel unit number 628663. You can expect around 80 freight train movements along here on a Saturday, including the regular lime trains to and from Flandersbach Quarry. DB's Gravitas Diesel number 265016 heads south hauling train GM 60386 from Duisburg-Mannesmann to Flandersbach. The nearby infrastructure depot houses 203308 and 212097. Our first Class 151s are seen here, numbers 88 and 15, heading coal train GM 60277 from Oberhausen to München. It's that engine again, number DE669 heads for Flandersbach once more, with empty hoppers from Gustorf. approaching the camera are 151, 169 and 167 on GM 60305 from Oberhausen to Andernach steel coils. They will pass numbers 152 and 083 on GM 60151 from Plockingen to Oberhausen. Meanwhile, not far behind is 1275845 on loaded hoppers, again bound for Oberhausen. Finally in this section we see 211345 leaving the yard with this engineer's train. In part 2 of this section, in the next edition of European Railway, we will follow the line back down to Lintdorf, featuring the various photographic locations along the way. as the train passes the camera, we would like to thank you once again for watching this edition of European Railway.